Hi, good evening all. Is that my voice is audible to you?
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. So we shall wait another 5 more minutes and we'll see that people will join. So good evening once again. We'll start with the session. So hope my voice is audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the confirmation. So we will continue with the GST on goods, what we were discussing. I hope everyone might have been understood with how to create with the stock categories, stock groups, units of measure, stock items, and also with go downs. Is there any kind of a doubt? Is that everyone are clear?
Yes, sir.
That's nice. Thank you for the response. Now, we will be continuing with that transactions which we have left out. So, let me go to the day book report. So, I have been made a purchase by using the stock item. So, while passing the transaction, you should be very careful. While passing a transaction, you are going to choose the item not with a group or a category. Stock group and the stock categories are only to give you a more explanation that what kind of behavior of product it is. So it will just define its type. Okay, it's a classification of an item. So finally, the report, whatever you are going to check it out, it will be on the stock item. So whenever, especially on the exam part, if I want to say, so in the exam part, if they are going to specify it that, so you create it as a stock group and stock category, then you can create it as a stock group or stock category. But in case it is given only with the item name, create it as only stock item. Do not worry about what could be the stock group or stock category. Don't get confused. If it is like that, I'll just show you one item. You can just go to the create and you can just create it as a stock item. For example, let me take it as a pen. So it should be under primary. If it is very specific in the question, it will be there as it relates to what type of a stock group. If nothing is given, just take it as under primary. So in the list of groups, take it as under primary. Then stock category, no worries. If it is not there, just take it as not applicable. If they're very specific, then it is mandatory. You are supposed to select with that category. Okay. So under primary category is not applicable, but make sure that you are going to be given with the units of measure, proper units of measures has to be taken. Okay. Without units of measure, do not access the screen. Because if you want to give the quantity, see, for example, sometimes in the morning also some of our friends who were practicing it, so they were not able to get the cursor on the quantity column. The reason is only one thing is the units of measure was not been selected. You select, you create and you selected the relevant units of measure. You can see the cursor moves on the quantity column. Hope everyone have understood. Okay. When it has been asked you to specify the GST details, then you go to the applicable. GST is applicable, set or alter GST details as yes. And here you should give the item name, then HSN code, it will be provided by it. Otherwise, you don't worry, you don't give the HSN code also, no problem. Or if you give any numbers in your own wish, no problem. Okay. Then on value, calculation type should be on value. Taxability, if it is given with any percentage, taxable. If no percentage, if it is exempt, exempt. If it is 0%, then it is nil tax. Okay. So be careful with this. Then give the tax rates. So give it only for integrated tax as the percentage. For example, 18% means 18% you give it for integrated tax. The rest of the central tax and state tax, it will be taken by itself. Then says, as of now it is 0 only. So give all these details and make sure that the type of supply is goods. And don't worry about the rate of duty again. We have already specified in the GST detail screen. So let it be the same. Okay. Then this is how a stock item has to be given. Suppose if it has been asked to give the opening balance. So let me take it as of now as a GST is not applicable. Until and unless we are very specific about the GST, so keep it as not applicable. Then the opening balance, if it is asked, you can give it at the end of the screen, at the bottom of the screen as opening balance. What is opening balance means? Whatever is left out or the closing balance of last year's last date. So what is the last year's last date? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone let me know what is the last year's last date? So the last year's last date is 31st March 2022. And this year's starting date is 1/4/2022. So last year last date, any stock is left out, that will be carried and it will be considered as an opening balance of this financial year. Okay, that means the opening balance, whatever you give it, it is only for the date of 1st April, the starting date of this financial year. Okay, if anything is left out in the last year. So let me take it for example 100 numbers, and in case if it is with multiple go down, so you can be able to give outside, you should give the quantity which is total of both the go downs. Suppose if there is Bangalore go down is 60, Mysore go down is 40 numbers. So then you are supposed to give it 100 numbers totally. Then in the next screen, you are supposed to give it 60 for Bangalore and 40 for Mysore with rate. Okay. So if you are not using the go downs, if there is no go downs, directly you can be able to enter the quantity rate and amount. Okay. Hope you people have been understood with this opening balance concept. Okay. So we have seen the item with GST and another one is without GST. Okay. So now let me come back. So that was all about the basic inventory information. So next we are going to do it with sales entry. So let me go to the sales. F8. Then select the party. So who is the party in this case? RK Traders. So there is no ledger in this list. Let me create it by using Alt C. RK Traders under sundry datas. Maintain balances bill by bill as yes. Select the state. Then registration type as regular. Then GST number. So be very careful that you are going to give the genuine GST number. Okay. So suppose if I am going to give it a wrong GST number, what happens? Let's see. So I'll give you the wrong GST number. So I've given a wrong GST number and accept that party ledger, because a lot of time it happens. So let me have one sales ledger for the purpose of GST goods sales. Sales ledger. Then is GST applicable? Yes, applicable. Set or alter GST details is yes. So, oh sorry. For the sales ledger, make it as no. That is for the purpose of goods. Set or alter GST details as no. Then type of supply, select it as goods. So set or alter GST details will be no. Type of supply will be goods. Accept the screen. So now let me select the stock item. So let me see what all the stock items are required. So here it says I have to sell mixer grinder 20 numbers from Bangalore Godown. Okay. So let me see that do we have that many stock. You can see on the right hand side the list of stock items with the closing stock. That means the stock which are available with us. Okay. So now it says 25 is there and I am required as 20 numbers. But this 25 numbers, if I select this stock item and see with the list of godowns. So here it says Bangalore godown has only 15 numbers, Mysore godown has 10 numbers. That means there is a shortage in Bangalore godown. Okay, so in this case, what we will do is we will just enter with Bangalore godown and we will enter the 20 quantity only. For the purpose of sales, we will raise it. So it says -5 is a negative stock. It is giving a warning message to us that there is a 5 quantity, it is lesser than actual quantity required. So now let us keep it as 20 and let it be with a negative stock of 5 numbers. As of now, for only raising the bill, we will do this entry. And I'm selling it at 2,500. Okay. I'm not selecting a second go down. As I said, it is only for the Bangalore go down. I'll make it sales. Next, the second item, television. So it says Bangalore go down 8 numbers, which is the stock is available. So it is not giving any error. Then it is 5,000. Next, laptop 2 pieces. And the price is 15,000. Then sofa. So Bangalore go down. They want to sell one set at the rate of 8,000 per set. Then lastly, rolling chair from Bangalore go down 3 pieces, 6,500. Okay, so like this, I have taken all the stock item and you can see the total value. It shows the total, the stock item value is 1,47,500. On this, I have a output tax to be calculated. So I don't have an output tax. Let me create it. Output tax is GST under duties and taxes. GST, central tax, 0%. So one more output is GST. Duties and taxes, type of duty is GST, state tax, 0%. Accepted. So you can see that the output tax it is giving at 11,767.50. So it has to calculate automatically. In case if you people are not able to get the output tax calculation, so one thing is you might have not created the tax ledger in proper way, that is under duties and taxes, or even though if the tax ledgers are created in a proper way, so you can be able to see the stock items. You go to the stock item alteration screen and check whether the GST details is been provided properly or not. Okay, so this could be the reasons when a tax is not getting calculated automatically, and you are not supposed to enter the GST detail just like that. Okay, so the next thing is we are supposed to see that Alt A, Alt F5. So when you press Alt A, Alt F5, Alt A for tax analysis and Alt F5 for detailed information. So you can be able to know that which stock item at what GST tax rate it has been calculated. Suppose if Alt A is not working, you can be able to check with Control O. So here GST tax analysis will be there. Suppose in the morning we had issue with one of our friend who was not able to get the details for both Control O as well as Alt A. So in such instances, if it was a lower release of a tally prime, so this would be a problem. So in that case, you can check it out in Control I. So if you use Control I, even here also you can be able to see with GST tax analysis. But here it is not appearing. In case if Alt A, Control O does not work, press Control I for more details. Okay. The next, it is mandatory that you should give it with e-way details, that is a transportation related information. So enter with all the necessary details and accept the screen with the relevant reference type. So it says you didn't enter with the e-way details properly. And do you want to send it with the voucher details? So I'll say it as no. As of now, I'll make it as no. But commonly it is supposed to be sent. Okay. Yes. So this is how you are supposed to enter with GST details on the sales voucher. Now, if I pass the sales entry related to GST, I should check these details whether is it showing it in the display, statutory reports, GST reports, and GSTR1. So you can see that the transaction, it is not showing over here. The information of that transaction is not appearing. The reason is, if you want to know the reason, you can see that uncertain transactions, which is requires the corrections. So you can get into this. and check it out. Which are those entries which are not been entered with GST details. So the first two entries are related to a normal transactions. We cannot do it in that. But this was an entry related to arcade traders. So we have to see that the GST number has to be entered properly. Okay. Then it is also having the problem with the stock item UQC. So when you are going to have a UQC in the stock item units creation, since we have a unit of measurement with the compound, so it is asking us to select the right UQC, reporting unit quantity code. So let me see that how we can be able to solve this. So first and foremost thing is you have to go to the alter, then select the ledger and select the party. So in the arcade traders, I'm supposed to enter GST number properly. So I'll give one register number, enter. So it is not having any issues. I'll accept it. So this is first step. By going to the ledger alteration screen, I made the changes with the proper GST number. And if I go to entry wise, so let me go to the entry by going to display, accounts, books, ledger. And here I'll select with arcade traders the entries. So here enter with this. At the time of passing a transaction, you will see that after selecting the party ledger, you will be able to see this extra screen. In this extra screen, the second screen, it will talk about the party details. And you can see that even though we have made a changes in the party ledger with the proper GST number, that it will not get updated automatically. So one thing we have to do it is manually change it. Otherwise, we have to do the refreshing. So how do I do the refreshing means? So now whatever the party we have selected, it is arcade traders. So here you select a wrong party example. Instead of arcade traders, I'll select as Pi International. You can see that automatically it will change the GST number to some other number which is given to the Pi International. Whereas I'll go back and I'll reselect with the original party, that is arcade traders, and you can see that the GST number, it is going to get updated, which we have entered inside the party GST number. So now accept the screen and accept the entry and you check it out. So let me go to statutory reports, GST reports, GSCR1. Still it is having a problem, but let's see that what are the problems. So let me go to the arcade traders. So the GST number, it has been solved, but here the UQC has its problem. So since we have it, two different types of units of measure, so we are supposed to have it one particular type of units for this. So it's not accepting. So let me try. So let me check it out. So it is not getting updated because we have already passed the entry. Okay. So as of now, I'll just remove it with that from my existing entry and I'll just go ahead. It is taking some time to do the changes. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'll just ignore that stock item. So I have to press spacebar and make it as end of list so that it will take the other entry. Okay. So let us check it out. Display statutory reports, GST reports, and GSTR1. You can be able to see that it is going to be shown over here. Okay. So this is how you can be able to solve your errors in case if you are finding any errors related to the GST. So you can solve it by going to the uncertain transactions and you can be able to make the changes, necessary changes in the entry and ledger levels and master levels, and you can be able to get the report over here. Okay. Now, till now, whatever we have discussed about, it was a GST on goods. With this, we should also see that certain inventory reports, since it is related to the goods. So I have to just go through a little bit of inventory related reports, that is stock summary. So the first and foremost report what you are supposed to check it out apart from GST, general inventory reports is the first and foremost report is stock summary. So this stock summary will give an input of how much stock do you have it presently with you. That is stock in hand or closing stock. Okay, so when you are going inside this report, you will be given with stock group wise reports. And if you want to know that stock group with stock item values, then press Alt F5. Press Alt F5. So here you can be able to see this stock group under that the relevant stock items. Okay. So with this, if you also want to know that what are the stock items under the respective go down wise report, then press F5. On the right hand side, the F5, it means stock item wise with go down wise report. Okay. So here you can be able to see that for the mixer grinder, you have it. There is a negative stock of -5. Okay. So generally we are not supposed to keep it with negative stock or negative balance. So we should be able to do some adjustment. So that means in the Bangalore godown, we have been made a sales where even though there was no stock available. But if you see that on the other godown, then Mysore godown, there is a stock which is more than what it was supposed to be having it. There are two ways you can be able to remove the negative stock. One is either you pass a purchase entry or you can be able to pass a entry for transferring the goods from Mysore godown to Bangalore godown. Okay, in case if you feel it that it is more than what it is required, then in that case, you can be able to transfer it from one godown to another godown. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. So there was required with 5 stock which is excess on the other godown. In this case, we can be able to transfer the goods from one godown to another godown. So how we can be able to do this? So we can come to the gateway of tally. There is a voucher. Go to the vouchers and press Alt F7. So Alt F7 will take you to the stock journal voucher. Stock journal voucher is a voucher which will allow you to transfer the goods. It is meant for internal transfer. So from one godown to another godown, you can be able to transfer the goods. So there is a 2 columns, one is source and another one is destination. The source is from where and destination is to which place. So let me see that how we can be able to enter with this information. So either it is with GST or without GST, no worries. Whenever you want to transfer it, you can transfer it by using stock journal. So there is a difference between the normal journal and the stock journal. Stock journal, it is purely inventory, only journal is for purely accounting. The next, let me select the stock item. So mixer grinder and let me select the godown. So I have to send it from Mysore godown. How many quantities? Let me assume it as 6. Let's assume it as 6. Let it be the same rate. And on the other side, we will receive the same stock item, but it will be for the godown of Bangalore godown. And let me give it as 6. Accept the screen. So now, after passing the stock journal voucher, you can be able to see in the stock summary by using F5 and Alt F5. F5 for stock item wise report, Alt F5 for with godown wise report. So now you can see that the mixer grinder, so which was -5, because of receiving 6, so it has become -5 to 1. Then from the Mysore godown, out of 10 which was being transferred with 6, it remains as 4. Okay, so this is a very important entry relevant to the inventory part, so which you should be aware with it. Okay,
Sir, where is stock general, sir? Can you show again where is stock general option?
in the vouchers you are asking, ma?
Yes, sir. Stock general, how did you get, sir?
So the shortcut key is Alt F7. In case if you forgot the stock journal or any voucher types shortcut keys, you can see on the right hand side. If you don't find it over there, then press F10 other vouchers. So can you find it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Fine. So stock journal was one of the entry which you are supposed to use it when you have a godown. This is only when there is a godown. Without godown, stock journal commonly we don't use it. Okay. So when you are using with the godown, we can be able to use it, the stock journal, because it is transferring of goods from one godown to another godown. Okay. The next, display. So there are other reports also. You can go for inventory books. So here, if you want, you can be able to view the reports only stock item wise. Again, the same reports. So if you can be able to choose with that item, and you can be able to check the report. Otherwise, go down wise, you can check the report. Alt F5. Wherever you go, use Alt F5 for further details. Okay. Then you have a stock group wise in case if you are maintaining the group wise report. In case if it is stock category wise, you can check with stock category summary. Then if you want to know that how many stock journal entries have you passed, then you can check with stock journal register. So it shows on which month how many transactions you have been passed. Is that clear? Then statement of inventory will talk about the stock query, which will give you an information that on individual item, it is going to show the values. So how much stock do you have it, and what are the transactions where you've been passed by using the stock items. Then category wise reports also it is going to show you to you. Godown wise report also will be shown. Okay, so you can just have a look on all these reports. Fine. This was all about inventory management. So the next one is GST on services. So I'll just give you a questions on GST on services. Okay, so purchase of photography services. Purchase of photography services. The photography services is been identified with SAC number. So do anyone remember with what is SAC? It is services accounting code. Okay, so the services accounting number is 998381 for rupees 50,000 from RK Labs. Also GST applicable at 18%. With this, also provided agro services, so SAC number I have just given with a random number 774512 for rupees 10,000. GST is exempted. Okay, this was a purchase entry related. Then sale of ad services SAC number double 98382 for rupees 2 lakh. And also agro services for okay, let me put this as a separate transaction. I want to show you the difference for SLA agency. Okay, sale of agro services to Ram Enterprises for rupees 15,000. Okay, so let me add this way. So to create the GST on services, it's the same thing. You should be very careful that F11 features are enabled with GST details. So once it is enabled, it is going to get applicable for both GST on goods and services. Okay, so accept this. The next thing is you have to be very careful when you are going to create the ledgers. So let me create the ledgers for the entry. Let me go to the vouchers. The first one is purchase. Press Ctrl H and make sure you're passing it through accounting invoice. So till now, whatever we were creating, it was on the item invoice. So now it is on the accounting invoice. Why? Because item invoice means only when we are going to have a stock item. But when it comes to when it comes to services, there is no involvement of stock items. So for that reason, we are going to pass it through accounting invoice. So the next thing is, so I was being asked in the session morning when we were doing it, what should be given with the supplier invoice number? So supplier invoice number means the invoice number. So suppose if I'm doing a purchases, so the opposite person is a seller. So that seller or a supplier, with what invoice number they are going to raise the bill. So that number I'm supposed to give it. Okay. For me, the purchase invoice number is 5. For that person, what is the number? I'm not sure. Okay. So commonly they will be having it as INV 102. So just an imaginary number. So let me give it like this, and date of transaction, you can enter the date. Next, party name. So here, who is the party? In this case, is the RK Labs. So let me create it. under sundry creditors. Make sure that GST numbers are given properly. So let me go to the list of GST numbers had been given. Yeah, so here I have. So it is accepting. So I'll accept the screen. The next one is I have to select the service ledger. What is the service I'm doing it over here is photography services. So create the ledger in the name as photography services where I am purchasing these services. So let me select it as purchase accounts. Photography services under purchase accounts. Is GST is applicable? Yes, it's applicable. Set or alter GST details is yes. So here you are supposed to give it with description. So what is the SAC code is 998381. Is non-GST goods? No. Nature of transaction. So select it as purchase taxable. You can see that it has to make the difference whether is it an intrastate or interstate. You all know what is the difference between this interstate and intrastate. So purchase taxable. So taxability is taxable. Is reversed as no. Ineligible for input credit as of no, no. Then what is the percentage? 18%. So if you don't give the GST details in this screen, that is in the purchase ledger, then it will not calculate GST. Whereas for the stock item, when I was doing with the GST on goods, in that case, I'm not supposed to give the GST details in the purchase or sales ledger. We were supposed to give it in the stock item. Okay, so that is the difference between the GST on goods configuration and GST on services. So services we have to give it in service ledger only. Type of supply is services. Accept the screen. So let me give the value as 50,000. Then with this, we also purchased agro services. So let me create it. Agro services. Under, again, it's a purchase account. Applicable. Make it set or alter GST details as yes. So description agro services. SAC code I have given as 7412. Ha, 774512. Yeah. Next, nature of transaction. Again, it is not purchase taxable, it is purchase exempt. Okay, there is no taxes applicable on this service, so we'll make it as exempt. Then type of supply is services. Accept it. So give the value for the same. So at what price? 10,000. Now we will select the same input tax CGST because it is intrastate transaction. So it is going to calculate the input tax CGST and input tax SGST. So in this case, we have to check it out when we have two different services, whether taxes getting calculated on both the values or on specific values, because one is taxable, one is exempt. So to check that, we are going to press Alt A and Alt F5. So here it shows that on agro services there is no tax applied, but on photography services 18%. So hope everything is clear over here. Accepted. So this was a purchase. So before moving further, I'll just take you to the print of this invoice. How does it look? It is applicable for both goods and services. It's the same thing. So press Control P. P is for print. So in this, we will go with the preview. You can see that this, it is getting printed in the name of invoice. Even though I had a stock item, services with a taxable and another one is exempted. Okay. Still, we were being able to get the name of the print as an invoice. So now, let me pass a sales entry, that is F8. So sales is done to SLA agency. Let me create it, SLA agency. Under sales, it is sundry debtors. It was a party, sundry debtors. Let me assume it as the same state, regular, and GST number. Let me get it. Accept the screen. So let me do the sale of ad services. So ad services under sales. Applicable. Make this option as yes. Description as ad services. And SAC code was 998382. And here it is, sales taxable. Percentage is 18%. And type of supply is services. Accepted. So it was on the amount of 2 lakh. And the GST applicable is output CGST and output SGST. Okay. So there was only one type of service and it has calculated 99% calculation. So no need of going to Alt A to verify it. So now, if I press Control P for print, you can see that the title of the invoice, it is going to be called as tax invoice. Okay. So when you are going to pass a purchase entry, the title of that printed is going to be as an invoice only. If you are going to do it with sales invoice print, then it is called as tax invoice. Okay, when it is the sales included with the GST, it is called as tax invoice. So you can check with all the details. Okay, in case while taking a print, if you are missing any information, you can go to configure C or F12 anything you can press so that you can be able to enable whatever the details you want to add it with. It is not only for the tax invoice of sales. Any type of transaction while printing, you can press F12 and you can be able to get a printing configuration. You can enable or disable whatever you want it and you want to ignore it. Okay. So let me accept this entry. Let me go one more transaction. So meanwhile, I'll just copy this GST number. Yeah, there is one more party. Sale of agro services to Ram Enterprises. So there is one more person as Ram Enterprises. Sundry data. Accepted. So here I've already created one agro services which was under purchase accounts. Let me create one more agro sales services which should be under sales accounts. So it will be under agro services only. Let me give it the same 774512. Nature of transaction, it is sales. And if I give it the amount as 15,000. Yes, it's 15,000. So now if I take with output CGST also, it does not calculate because it is exempted. So whenever I'm going to have a stock item with exempt, sales exempt, or and service with sales exempt, and if I take a print of it, so it is going to be called as bill of supply. So when you have a transaction of sales of GST on goods or services, for both it is applicable. It is going to print the title of that copy as bill of supply. Okay, so this is the difference. I want you to know it. So when there is exempted, no need of selecting which output tax. Just accept the entry. Okay. So hope you people have got the differences of it. Okay. Suppose if there is a combination of both the taxable item or services with exempted or 0%. In that case, that invoice will print as a tax invoice only. Okay. Only exempted or nil tax rated items or services will print in the name of bill of supply. Okay. And if you want to export it, so instead of print, if you want to export it to any of the formats, so you can be able to export it anything from the tally by using Control E. So press Control E. You can be able to export it in 6 formats. So let's see what are those formats by going to configure. So you can go to the last options by selecting file format and press enter. You'll be able to get this 6 formats, which are those ASCII, Excel format, HTML format, JPEG format, PDF format, and XML format. So you can be able to export it, your information from Tally to any of this format which you can be able to access with. Okay. So it is 6 formats and the shortcut key is Control E. Okay. So hope Disha got this, which you were expecting.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the next thing is, let's see the reports. How does it looks? Gateway of Tally, display, statutory reports, GSC reports, then GSCR1. So you can see the transactions, whatever you have passed, it will be shown on B2B invoices. Otherwise, it will show on nil rated in case if you are having a item or services under exemption or 0%. Okay, so that it shows over here. Suppose if any transaction, if you pass without taking a party ledger, if you have taken with cash ledger, then it will be shown in the B2C option. Okay, so after all these things, you will come to know what is GSCR 3B. Okay, it gives you that you have collected a tax of 58,575 and you can be able to claim it ITC up to 47,325 rupees. Okay, so this is how you can be able to understand with GST part. Hope everyone have been understood with this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So by this we are going to end up with GST. So we'll take a small break of 5 minutes and we'll be starting with data management concept. Thank you all for being online. Hope my voice is audible. Yeah. So we have been completed with the inventory management, GST, TDS, banking also, right? With all this, how we can be able to safeguard our tally data? So first of all, where do we uh, get saved with our tally data? We will see. So if you want to know that where your tally data is getting saved, so you should go for the list of companies. So either you can shut this company and you can go, or you can press Alt K and you can see there is an option called select, or you can press Alt F3 directly so that you will come to a list of companies. Okay, so here, whatever the path, you can be able to see it. So this is the location where your tally data is getting saved. Right? So let me show you one more way to identify where your tally data is getting saved is when you are going to create a company. You can see at the backspace, if you press, this is the path where all your tally data is going to get saved. That means the tally data will get saved in the local drive of the systems. So it will be either in the C drive, D drive, any local drive of your system, but it will not get saved anywhere outside. That is nothing like cloud storage. So whatever the data we are going to use it in our mobile, everything it is going to be get saved in somewhere. Whatever we do it on online, so it is going to get saved somewhere. So it's not like that. For that reason only tally is not been mandatorily we are going to use it as a internet. So internet it is only for downloading the software. Rest of the time, even there is no internet, you can be able to use the tally. Okay. Yes. So this is the place where you can be able to come to know that the tally data it is getting saved. So let us copy this. The shortcut key to copy is Control C and press Windows R. So Windows R will take you to the run command screen of that system. So this is out of tally. And paste that path, Control V, and click on OK. So it will show where is your tally data is getting saved. So tally data is getting saved in the local drive of your system. And this is the place where it is going to get saved. And it is going to get saved in the form of a folder. Tally data, it will be available in the folder format and it will be saved with 5-digit numbers. You can see that in the inside the tally, it is going to be shown with the company name. So the 10,000 company, it has been saved inside tally as a ABC, company name as ABC. But outside the tally where the tally data it is saved, it is not going to be get identified by its name. It is going to be get to know that it is going to be with the 5-digit numbers. So tally data, if you want to identify anyone comes to know that you are having a tally knowledge, definitely they will take a help from you. And if they say that they want a help and they are going to give a tally data, how you can be able to identify means, so the data what they are going to give it, it should be with a folder format and it should be with the 5-digit numbers. And is that any folder with a 5-digit number will become a tally data? No. Inside that folder, there should be files with the extension of .900 and .tsf. Okay. So even though there is no .tsf files, no problem, but it should be there with the .900 files. Okay. So this is the confirmation that the data what you are checking, it is related to tally. And this data you can be able to run it on tally screen. You cannot run an Excel or an MS Word file into a folder and you cannot run it on tally. Tally will recognize only the files which are there with .900. Okay. So this is how you can be able to identify what is tally data. Now let us go inside the tally. How to safeguard this? So you can be able to safeguard it two ways. One is you can be able to take the data backup on a regular basis. That means, why do we take a backup? Why do we have a backup concept? Backup means it's a copy. You are going to have a copy of this data and you save it somewhere in the place where you feel it is very safe. Because why it is required with the backup is whenever there is an uncertainties, like if a system gets crashed, if it is with virus, data is not able to get opened. So it could be any technical reasons. And if you are not able to open the tally software itself, so that if tally data, that file itself, it is not available. So it is, we cannot expect it. So it may be due to of technical reasons, but the data is lost is data is lost. So in that case, always it is preferred on a regular basis, keep a data backup. How do you take a data backup? One way is, simple way is, you know that how to find out where the tally data is saved in the system. You can copy these folders and keep it somewhere in the safe place. So just copy and paste it. This is manual backup. If you want to take a backup from tally itself, so in that case, what you can do it is, you can just create a folder on desktop, create new folder on desktop. You all know how to create a folder. So right click any empty space, go to new option, folder, name it as backup tally. Backup tally data. And now you can copy this address path. You all know how to copy it. So get the cursor on the address bar, right click, copy address and go inside the tally. There is an option called Alt Y. So Alt Y is for data. So here go to Alt Y, select the backup option, and here you should specify where the backup has to be saved. So you can press Ctrl V for pasting it and enter. Enter twice so that it is going to take with that path. Now you can choose that company. So generally you will be having one or two companies, that's it. So you can select both the companies. In case if you have more than one company, you should be very careful that which company data is very important. If all are important, you can select one by one all the companies, or you can select as all items. Okay, so you can be able to select as all items, or you can select it individually. Okay, so now let me go to this company, Raj Traders. Select it, and it is asking, do you want to select any other company? If you have, you can select. Otherwise, you can select it as end of list. So I selected and accepted it, that screen. When the data is not much, it will take it back up at faster way. Now you go to that new folder and find there is a file in the name as TBK900. Okay, and followed with that company folder number. So this is a tally backup file TBK900 with company folder number. So in case if you want to restore it after some time, if you found something is missing and you had a backup luckily, and if you want to restore, you can go back to the same option in the list of companies by pressing Alt Y data, and select with restore option. So here you should be selecting it, specify path. Go to the specify path and give the path where your backup is being saved. So after giving over there, you can be able to select that company and you can accept it. So it will get restored. So if I select it, it will ask me that, do you want to replace? Because already the data is available. Okay. So this is how you can be able to take the data backup and restore the data in case if you are having a backup file. Okay. So this is backup and restore. The next one is how you can be able to safeguard your data. So now I can go to any company. Just I'll take this example of this company. I can go to this company and open any entry. Let's assume it this entry. So instead of 1 lakh, I'll put it as 10 lakhs. Okay. So let me accept this entry. So that means it is allowing us to make the changes. So in this case, I am allowed to edit, I am allowed to create a new content and allowed to delete also. If I press space bar to select and press Alt D, so it is Alt D is for deleting the data. Once the data is deleted from the tally, it is nowhere it is going to be retrieved. There is no recycle bin for the tally data. Okay. So that means your data is not safe. So what we can be able to do in this case? Just give me a minute. Yeah. So we were talking about how we can be able to secure our data. So here also we have two ways. So one is if you are being created a company already and you want to secure it now, or at the time of creation of a new company. At the time of creation of new company, you can press F12. There is an option called use tally vault password as yes and accept it. So you will be able to get this set tally vault password to encrypt company data. So you can enable this and you can give a password. So this is at the time of creation of a company. Let's assume it that company is already created, but I was not aware. Now I am aware about it and I want to give the tally vault password. So tally vault password means it is an encrypted format of password where it will not allow the person to view the company name also from the list of companies. And if you have forgotten that password, it is not going to be get retrieved. Okay, so you should be very careful before giving the password to the company. So how we can be able to give it to the existing company is, so go to the company, Alt K. Here you have an option called tally vault. So give the password. So let me give the password. Accept it. So make it as yes. So here it says, do you want to create a company? So it says, do you want to have a two companies? One is the same company without password and another same company with password. So it is a kind of a backup. You can be able to have it. So if you want, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can manually take a backup and you can be able to save it. So as of now, I'll keep it as no. Okay. So now you can be able to log into that company with password. So if I check it out, Alt F3, you can see that this company is being secured with tally vault password. It is similar to your mobile is been locked with a pattern or with any passwords with the number or it could be anything. So it is similar to that. So it will be showing it in the encrypted format. It will not allow the person to know which company is this also. You should identify your company based on its company number, which is there in that bracket, the folder number. Okay. So if you are given to the multiple companies, then you should be able to identify for which company, what is the password is given. As I said, once a password is forgotten, it's nowhere possible to retrieve it. And in case if it is possible to retrieve it, there is no chance of getting back your data. Okay. Be careful, give the password, but don't forget. Okay. So now, suppose, is it possible to change the password for this company? Yes, it's possible. How we can be able to do it? The same way how you went to give the password, go to the same option. Alt K company, select with tally vault and enter the old password and enter the new password. So in case if you feel it is not so easy to remember, I may forget it if you find it difficulty in remembering. So, and if you want to remove the password permanently, then you can come to the same screen instead of entering the new password. It is mandatory you should enter with the old password. If you are looking for removing the password, do not enter anything in the new password. Just press enter with a blank. It says making the password blank will remove the encryption from your data. Yes, we want to remove it. Enter. Accept. Again, it is yes and no. So now this company is free from tally vault password. How do I see? Either you can shut the company and see, or you can press Alt F3 and you can see in the list of company. So the company's tally vault password has been removed. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next thing is, so when we saw this tally vault password, anyway, it was helping us to secure it. But in case if the password is not, like if you've forgotten, so then it is a loss. Suppose if the password has been hacked, so someone came to know in some other way, they can be able to enter that password and they can get inside the company and they can do anything. It is similar to that without having a password and having a password is same. So we have another type of security. So that is part as a security control. So this also you can be able to give it at the time of creation of company. So you have to press F12. I'll make tally volt password as no. And the second option is user access control. That means the second type of security control is based on user access. That means like how you have a password for your system, your laptops. So when you are logging into the system, it will be asking, even in your college also, when you were logging into the system, it was asking, do you want to run it as an admin or as an user? So like that, you can be able to create the passwords for admin level and user levels. Okay, so to do that, you can be able to enable it in the creation of company as a use access control as yes, and give the password yes, and you can be able to give the password of an administrator. So that means you should be able to remember both here. One is username as well as password. Okay, so let me give it example as admin. Suppose this is in case of while creating a company. In case if you have already created a company but you didn't give the username and password while creating it, in that case you can be able to go to Alt K, security, Alt K, security. Yeah. So here you can be able to give it control user access to company data. You can enable it as yes. And here you can be able to give the username and password for the administrator level. So let me give it as admin and password. Do not forget this password also. Yes. Then let me choose it. Sorry. Let me choose it as none. So this email access, we will not accept it as of now. And accept the screen. Do not enable anything. Just accept the screen. Now, in this case, whenever we want to give a username and password for the user levels, that means when do we implement such kind of administrator level and user level concept of giving a password is when you are having a multiple users and you don't want to give all the access to all the users. So usually it happens in any organization. So the senior will not believe or they do not want their users, the juniors, to do everything in that tally company because of not having a knowledge, or certain times it happens that it will have a lot of issues. Knowingly, unknowingly might have done anything wrong in the data, it will lead into a bigger crisis also. Okay, so in that cases, the user will create this as an administrator level where admin login will have all the rights to create, edit, and remove the data. But the administrator will not give their own passwords. They will create a username and password for the others. So how do we create it is, we will go to the Alt key again. So once you are going to enable with admin level username and password, you will be able to get a new feature called user management. So here you can be able to see the options. Under this, you have to choose it with user roles. So go to the user roles and do not enter on any of this option. Just move your cursor by using down arrow key and get it on empty screen. So in this empty space, type it as user one. Do not make any changes for the existing list. Create a new name. Okay. After doing this, do not press enter. Use down arrow key. Do you want a second user also? Then create another user as a user 2. If not, leave it blank. Just accept the screen. So I'll not press enter. I'll just come down and then enter, accept the screen, or Control A also will be okay. Now, after creating those user names, I have to give access to those users, what should do, what not to do. Okay. Initially, when I create the name, I cannot give it. I'll tell you why. I'll go to Alt K, user roles. So I'll go to user one and press enter. So in this new screen, the first option, use basic facilities off. I'll press space bar. So here you can be able to see the list of securities. So I will be choosing user one. So here I should be able to give a new list of access to the user one. Suppose if I create a name and just enter, I don't get my name, it will not get updated immediately. So we have to accept the screen and again we have to go back to the user roles and then we are supposed to select the user one and I have to choose it, use basic facilities of as user one. Next, do you want to give your users to access any of the backdated? So backdated means before the current date. So the current date means generally today's date is considered as current date. But in Tally, current date means the last date of transaction. On what date have you passed the transaction? So that is considered as a date of the current date. So apart from the current date, if you want to give a permission to any users to make any changes for before the current date. So for example, today, if I'm passing a transaction for the date of 15th May 2022. So I will be allowed my user to do anything on 15th May, but not to do anything before the 15th May. And if I change it to the current date changes to 18th May, so that means it will allow only for 18th May, but it will not allow to the previous days. And here it is asking us if you want to give a permission, for how many days do you want to give it? So that means you can give it, for example, as 3 days. So 3 days if you are giving means if your current date is 15, that means you are allowing that person to do anything on 14th, 13th and 12th, but not before that date. So you are giving a permission of that 3 days before the current date. And whenever the current date changes, even this also it gets changes. Okay. So as of now, I'll keep it as 0. The next one is cutoff date means, do you want to fix a date that before this date, it should not give access. After that date can give access. So you can fix a date over here. Okay. So like this, the rest of other options, if you want, you can keep it as yes, otherwise no. Next, I'll keep it all the option as no. Next, what should not be done? That has to be listed under disallow the following facilities. So I am disallowing this user one, not to alter. What not to alter is, I have a list of options over there. I don't want this person to alter my accounting masters. Okay, so I'll just accept this. I'll just take one example. You can try it on your own by giving different options. I am restricting this user one for not to alter accounts masters. Accounts masters means accounting group, ledgers related to that. Okay, so I'll just accept it. Do not give anything in the allow the following facilities, because if you restrict certain things, obviously there will be permission for the other things. So it's not required you to list it out once again. Okay, so that was user one. Let me go to the user two and choose the use basic facilities of user two, and I don't give anything over here. And here I will make that person not to have a access. Full access means that option itself it should not show. Okay, so I will make this person should not be able to see my balance sheet. And I will add one more, that this person should not have a access of altering accounting vouchers. Okay, so I have added. So that means I can add n number of disallow the following facilities for the user. Okay, I have taken access of don't show balance sheet and not to alter the accounting vouchers for user 2. Accept the screen. So this was only for giving a what not to do, what to do. Okay, so now the next thing is I have to give a username and password for them. Alt K, again go to the security option. Oh, sorry. Alt K, go to users and passwords. Under user management, go to users and passwords. So here you can select it. So we created a users as user one. I will give it as U1 so that I can remember U1, and password also same U1. And user 2, I'll give it U2, and answer also U2. Accept. So now everything is set now. So I'll shut this company. The shortcut key to shut, Control F3. Again, I'll open this company. See, I will not be able to know that the company which is secured with security control and non-secured. See, here everything it shows same. The company name, the folder number, and the financial year. Whereas, if I'm going inside that company, if it is asking for username and password, then only we will come to know that this company is being secured with security control or not. And the second thing is, when you are going to have a security control to that company, it will not ask you to enter admin level first and then user level. It will ask you to just enter with the username and password. So whatever the username and password you have it, you can enter with that. Okay, so that after logging in only you will come to know whether I will log in with user level or admin level. I'll show you how it is. So let me log in with user number 2, username and password, that is U2. Now, what was the restrictions I made it? It was that user should not be able to see my balance sheet. You can see under the reports, I'm not able to get the balance sheet at all. Full access, it is removed. So balance sheet itself, it has been removed for this user. Then second thing is I gave do not alter the vouchers. Whatever the vouchers is being entered, I'm not allowed to access it. So it says no access allowed. So this is how you'll come to know that whether we are logged in with users level or admin level. There is one more way before or without going to any of this option. Directly, if you press Alt K, you can see certain options are not given over here. Okay, so this itself, it says that you are logged in with user levels. Okay. So let me come out of this, or without logging out or without shutting the company, you can press Alt K. There is an option called change user. So you can select, you can change the username U1 and its password. No need of shutting the company again and again. You can use change user so that you can be able to come into that particular option. So what was the restriction I gave it? It was, so this person can be able to go to any entries, they can change it, because I didn't restrict for this, but I restricted for that person. It was not to create accounting mask, sorry, not to alter. They can create it, but not to alter. You can see that in the alter, I don't have accounting masters itself. Okay, so these are the ways you can be able to secure your data. Is that fine? So by this, we are going to end up with data management concept. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will end up for today. We'll meet tomorrow morning at 9 and keep it ready with your assignments, which was supposed to be submitted tomorrow on a A4 sheet with those questions what we are given with both Excel and Tally. Okay, thank you all. Meet you all tomorrow at 9. Have a nice time.